Hi, Jason Golf Principles here in Basingstoke. I had a tweet from Kevin Flynn, who's a good friend of mine, who's a very, very talented coach down in the south coast. And he asked a great question. He's used S300s for years and years. He's always kind of used it, it's like a default setting. But, you know, is that correct? The answer is, you've got to keep on top of it. Things change, your swings change, speeds evolve, your action evolves. The question is, whether you load the shaft in the right place or whether your action's in one plane or two plane. I've done this before, but I'm going to tweak it slightly. When you have a rotary one plane action, you're better off having the weight under the handle. So think of it like a club hammer or a sledgehammer. If the heavier end is near you, this end can come out quicker. So if you're a one planer, the feeling of turning a bit like a Kucha, although he's gone to that Aerotech graphite, it's a similar principle that you're isolating the base of the weight more up here. Now, for instance, if you're a two-planer, like Michael Thompson, for instance, who gets his arm really high, you don't want the weight up the grip end, you want near the head end. You want to be able to feel where the head is, so when you release it, it's stiffer down the bottom, but also you can feel where the club is. Now, traditionally, what you'll find is guys that have got more weight down here tend to get a higher vertical swing plane because the head, his relationship is heavier and that drops underneath and that gets you in that position there. Whereas the one planer that gets a bit more weight under the handle tends to get a bit shallower and a shallower VSP. So for instance, the two shafts might have a difference of say 4 or 5 degrees. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? We need to know where you are in terms of pluses and minuses and steep and shallow. But effectively, to Kevin's point, if you're working your swing, Kevin likes to get the club a bit deeper, more behind him, those S3s might cause him to get overly shallow and start drop kicking it, or he might feel that it's just a bit like it's lagging behind. So the switching the weight of the shaft might just help him. So always keep a tab with your coach or with your numbers on TrackMan if possible to see where you are. There are certain boundaries that are good. You don't want to ever see your hand and handle really high because the face is always going to be slightly open and you'll probably end up either shanking it or push fading it at best. So keep a check on it. Any questions as always, give me a shout. Happy to help anyone.